Hey guys, this is Walter. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on the softail that we've been working on and building for me to race. We never really got to do a follow-up video once we got everything finished and before we took it to the track. So I'm just gonna give you guys a quick little walk around on all the things that we did and the current issue that we are dealing with it before I get started on tearing it apart. So we took the Springer front end off. We put a Sportster front end on the front of it. Shift light, kill switch, air gauge, all that stuff hidden in behind the fairing. We added the air bottle so we don't have to have an onboard compressor. We added the air shifter that we tied in. We made a bracket that we could tie in with the primary bolts. We added it in with the already existing shift linkage. We switched everything in the back from belt drive to chain drive. Steve did a wonderful job of fabricating up this good little chain guard right here. Let's see what else. Switched both of the wheels. That was covered in another video where we changed them to GSXR wheels. A lot lighter, a lot better for our application. What else did we do? We shed a lot of weight on this thing. We kept all of the heat shields and all the fancy chrome covers and all that stuff that we took off. We probably stripped close to a couple 100 pounds off this bike between the front end and then all the extra little goodies that were on it to dress it up. We also did the custom dash panel. This bike actually does have the old school split tank, so it's actually two separate tanks. This tank is running as a dummy tank. We just blocked it off. As you can see here, it doesn't have the cross tube anymore. And most of the wiring and stuff is hidden in behind this panel between the two tanks. So we also made it where this tank could be very easily just removed and pulled out of the way to access the wiring and anything else on the top end that we may need to get to. Safety tether with the kill switch added on there. Ended up going with just a single cable throttle. Makunis have such a strong spring in them that we didn't really see the need to keep both on there. That's kind of it for a quick little rundown on what all we did. Now the current problem is the couple of times we took it and did try to run it, the issue we had was going down the track at full throttle. Anybody that has an Evo with a 5-speed or even RevTech 6-speed that this has, a very common problem as far as I understand it is that once you get past second gear, they do not like going into third, fourth, or fifth gear at very high RPMs like that as when you're running down the track. So the issue we have now, kind of took a chance and we were hoping once we had the air shifter working that maybe with it killing the ignition and everything, it would go into gear easier. That did not work either. So currently we are at the state where we do not have a third gear. So what I'm getting ready to do now is, for those of you that know softails, you already know, to access the transmission, I'm going to have to completely remove the primary again. Outer and inner, all that's got to come out. Clutch basket's got to come out. Got to take the shifter all back apart. Once we come around to this side, I've got to take the pipes off. The oil tank has to come out, so I have to drain all the fluid from the primary, all the fluid from the oil tank. We'll have to drain all the transmission fluid because on the softails, unlike the touring bike, since we have the oil tank under here, obviously to get to our transmission, all this stuff's got to come out of the way, and oil tank's got to come out, starter's got to come out, everything has to come out to be able to access this and be able to get this out so we can see what's going on with it. We are hoping that all we have is maybe a bent shift fork or maybe something with the tumbler that's in there. Some people know what I'm talking about by tumbler. I don't know the exact term for it. And the plan is to, once we get this out, I have a hookup on a 5-speed Harley transmission that I'm going to trade a buddy of mine this 6-speed for his 5-speed. And then I'm gonna send the 5-speed off, and I'm gonna have it undercut, polished, all that stuff. So it'll be smooth like butter, and we won't have no more problem shifting, hopefully. So then we'll be able to see what this bike will actually do, because the motor is running really great. The motor's running really strong. We've had no issues with any of that stuff. First few passes I was able to make on it, I want to say it was at the A1 Cash Days event. I want to say it was running just over 80 miles an hour, and that was in 8th mile, consistently trying to shift into 3rd gear and still crossing the finish line over 80 miles an hour, about 8.5 seconds. So considering, it's not really terrible. Could be a lot better, obviously, once we can get it to shift into 3rd gear, but I feel good about it. I feel like the motor's running really strong, and I feel like the work we did there was good. So let's get the transmission fixed and see what we got after that. Thank you guys for watching. Check back in with you guys in a little while once I'm done with all this work.